Now, the most common example that you may encounter, in my opinion, about the wisdom of Solomon is the story about Solomon and the two harlots or the two prostitutes. Okay, just be patient. Hear me out. There were two women. The story goes that both of them were like harlots. Okay, now they lived. Now the story goes that these two women lived in the same room, and they both had children. Well, they both had infant sons. Two, they had baby. One had both of them each had a baby boy. Okay, one night, one of the women woke up to discover that her baby had died. Okay, so what one of the women did, she took the dead body and she switched it. What she did, the other woman was asleep, so she took the baby, that her baby that died, and she crept over and took the other woman's baby, brought it back to her side of the room, and put the dead baby with the other woman. Okay. When the other woman awoke the next morning, she discovered that her child was dead. And her first reaction, she thought that was her son. But, because, a mother knows her child, I mean, you're not going to fool a mother. She realized that wasn't her baby. And, which, I'm sure, unfortunately, she looking at a dead baby. I mean, I'm sure she was sad about that, but she must have been relieved. Hey, this really isn't my baby. So she looked to the other side of the room and seen her baby. And when she went to claim her child, the woman said, "No, this is my child." Okay. Now you gotta remember, this is thousands of years ago. Okay, they didn't have DNA kits and tongue swabs to do a DNA check to determine whose child each child, whose child was it. So there was no science, what we call a modern scientific way to establish who the child belonged to, like we do today. So this was a problem. There was no evidence other than one witness saying this is my child, and the other one witness saying this was my child. Okay, so so in Solomon's land, this dispute went through what we would call the lower courts. The other magistrates in Solomon's kingdom was dealing with this problem, but they couldn't come up with an answer. So basically what I'm telling you, nobody else in Solomon's kingdom could solve this problem. So finally, they brought the problem to Solomon. Now check this out. Let me show you how. Let me show you how bad Solomon was. I mean bad meaning good, or how great he was. Let me show you. Let's see some of how wise God made this man. Okay, so they brought the problem to Solomon. One woman running game talking about the baby hers and that dead baby is the other ladies. They going back and forth. And so Solomon's just sitting there. So check out what Solomon did. Solomon said, "Bring me a sword." And they brought him a sword, and they laid the baby at Solomon's feet. And Solomon says, "I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this sword. I'm going to divide this baby in half. So I'm going to cut this baby in two. Cut it in half so that each of you can take one half." Now, when the actual woman's when the woman whose baby had died, the real mother, when she found out what not the woman, I'm a little confused. Let me back up. Okay, you have one baby alive. All right. So the mother of the babies of whose child is living, who had her baby stolen or kidnapped by the other woman, when she found out that King Solomon was about to kill her child, even though the other one was claiming her child, she became afraid. Okay, so she's in terror because she knows her child is going to be killed. On the other hand, the woman who was lying, when she found out that Solomon was going to do this and kill the other baby, well, this other woman, being a harlot, being of low character, she didn't care. She said, "That's just." So what she must have had in her mind is, well, if I can't have my baby, neither can she. Now, so when Solomon was about to kill the child and he drew the sword, the real mother, she cried out. She said, "No, no, don't kill him. Get a baby to her. Only let him live." And Solomon said to the said in front of the court, and he looked at her and said, "This is the mother, the woman that was willing to give up the child and spare the life of the child." So Solomon solved the problem. Now, this story can be found in the Bible in the first book of Kings, chapter 3, verses 16 through 27. Now, this is an example of the incredible insight or the incredible wisdom. This is only one of the examples of the incredible insight and wisdom that Solomon possessed. Uh, to be, to be realistic with you, the Bible doesn't contain all the wisdom of Solomon, everything he did, but this is just one example of how wise this man was. Okay, um, and well, let me just read you this one verse concerning the whole matter. And the 28th verse of First Kings chapter 3 says, "And all of Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, King Solomon, and they feared the king, for they saw the wisdom of God was in him to do judgment." Now, so we see that Solomon had great wisdom. Okay, so what is the key aspect of wisdom? It is insight. And what is insight? Well, you have physical sight with your two eyes, but insight is the sight within yourself, your inner vision, your mental sight or vision. More formally, insight is defined as clear or deep perception of a situation. In other words, wisdom or insight is sight beyond the sight of your physical eyes. It is sight beyond sight. Okay, where does deep perception of a situation take place? When we're having a problem or we say a situation, okay, and we're looking to see what's going on. Well, you know that we're not talking about see as in physically see. Let me see what's going on. We talk about something spiritual, and when I say spiritual, I'm talking about something within the mind, something mental. So deep perception takes place in the mind. So deep perception or insight takes place inside of your skull, inside of your mind. Okay, so what is occurring within you when you are dealing with a situation? First of all, you recognize that there is a problem and have some idea of who or what is involved. Okay, that is the light or the amount of understanding that you have about the situation. If you understand something or a part of something, uh, and then that must mean that you are able to apply logic and reasoning to it. Okay, and so if you're dealing with facts, the little facts of the situation, and the who, what, when, where, how, you're dealing with the logic, what you can logically understand and reason with. Okay, so you're on the left side. That's your masculine side of your brain, the left side of your brain. Now, okay, the other thing you're dealing with when you're dealing with a problem or a situation is it's the stuff that you don't know. Of course, this is what actually makes it the problem, because you know some things and you don't know some things. Okay, so when you don't know something, you are in the dark, or you are ignorant of the facts involved, right? Okay, meaning you don't know, so you're in the dark, right? So what you are dealing with uh, in the situation is light and darkness, knowledge and ignorance, truth and lies, facts and beliefs. The opposites. Okay, so when you are in the dark about a situation, or even in the dark in the physical sense, you must rely on your intuition and your emotions or the feelings you get. So let me just elaborate a little further. Like if you're outside and it's pitch black dark, right? And you hear something in the bushes. You can't reasonably or logically determine what it is because you can't see it. But your intuition says something's not right here. Why is something cracking in the bushes over there? This don't feel right. Okay, you're dealing with your feminine aspect, the feminine characterization of your brain, the right side of your brain. Your intuition, your emotions. When you're dealing with a situation. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so if we want to achieve insight, uh, or exercise wisdom, we must be able to apply both our reasoning abilities and our intuitive sense to in proper proportion to the situation. When you are able to do this, you will be able to see the light, the light in your mind to solve the problems that you're facing, or we say that you are enlightened about the situation, meaning that you have light in you that enables you to see the solution that your physical eyes could not. Jesus described this enlightenment or inner wisdom like this. In the Bible, in the book of Luke, chapter 11, verse 34, we have the light of the body is the eye. Therefore, when thy eye is single, thy whole body is also full of light. But when thine eye is evil, thy body also is full of darkness. In this parable, Jesus tells you that when you are in a state of enlightenment, when you are okay, in this parable, Jesus is describing two different states. One state was when you're enlightened, and another state when you are in the darkness. Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at this verse in Scripture a little more closely. Okay, Jesus is equating light and darkness to singleness and evil. Okay, since Jesus is using equations, let's solve the mystery of the problem. Okay, the mystery concerns the usage of single and the usage of evil. We can clearly see that light, is the opposite of darkness. But when we so when we look in the verse, we can see easily. Okay, well, light is the opposite of darkness. Okay, but on the other side of the equation, we have single, the opposite of evil. Okay, let's get some understanding here.